Imagine stepping onto a new shore every few minutes. Black lava cliffs one moment, sugar white sand the next. In this journey, we'll hop across 20 of the world's most stunning islands, tracing fiery volcanoes, hidden ancient ruins, and reefs that glow like living rainbows. Each stop packs its own story of land, sea, and time, all told in plain, easy language. Grab a seat and let's set sail for 20 small worlds that feel bigger than imagination. Cast limestone cliffs rise like jagged emerald blades from Palawan's turquoise seas, a landscape sculpted over 250 million years when these rocks sat on a shallow marine shelf. Tides and monsoon rains carved caves, secret lagoons, and the world-famous Puerto Princesa underground river, whose 8-kilometer course disappears beneath cathedral-high vaults before spilling into the South China Sea. Offshore, Tubataha reefs cradle more than 600 species of fish and 360 types of coral, earning dual UNESCO World Heritage status for both geological wonder and biological richness. Human history here runs just as deep. In the Taban Caves on Lipun Point, archaeologists uncovered stone tools and the 47,000-year-old remains of Taban man, some of the oldest evidence of modern humans in Southeast Asia. Later, Tagbanua and Palawan peoples etched intricate designs on cave walls and fashioned wooden Kayangan burial jars now displayed in local museums. Spanish galleons fortified Taytay's coastal fort in the 17th century, and Coron Bay still guards the rusting hulks of Japanese warships, haunting dive sites that recall World War II's Pacific chapter. Palawan remains the Philippines' last ecological frontier. In mangrove mazes and seagrass meadows, dugongs graze, while saltwater crocodiles patrol brackish channels. Above water, white-bellied sea eagles circle over El Nido's Bacuit archipelago, where karst spires hide pocket beaches accessible only by banker boat or kayak. Strict conservation zones, from Kalawit safari reserves, free-roaming giraffes, to community-managed marine sanctuaries, aim to balance tourism with protection, ensuring Palawan's raw beauty endures long after travelers leave its shores. Strung like a pearl necklace across the equator, the Maldives comprises 26 ring-shaped atolls and roughly 1,190 coral islets scattered over 90,000 square kilometers of ocean. The chain began as towering volcanoes some 60 million years ago, built by a hotspot plume and slowly subsiding as the Indian plate drifted north. Corals grew upward, keeping pace with the sinking peaks and leaving behind today's emerald rings and sapphire lagoons. Nowhere rises higher than about 2.4 meters, making the Maldives the planet's lowest-lying nation and giving its chalk-white beaches an almost intimate bond with the tide. Between sandbanks, plankton-rich channels called Candace glow an electric blue beneath passing Doni boats. Human settlement followed the monsoon winds. Austro-Indo seafarers arrived around the first millennium BCE, carving Buddhist figures at sites like Kuruhina Tharagandu before the entire archipelago embraced Islam in 1153 CE under the scholar Abu al-Barakat. Coral stone mosques, such as Malay's 17th century Hukuru Miski, showcase interlocking blocks, lacquered teak beams, and Quranic calligraphy that has withstood both storms and colonial intrigue. A sultanate governed these isles for 7 centuries, punctuated by a brief Portuguese occupation and a British protectorate signed in 1887. Independence came in 1965, followed by a republic 3 years later. Beneath the surface lies one of Earth's richest marine tapestries. More than 700 fish species swirl through soft coral gardens, manta rays spin in feeding cyclones at Hanifaru Bay in the UNESCO-listed Bar Atoll, and whale sharks cruise the plankton trails of South Ari. Knowing its very soil rests on living coral, the Maldives has declared multiple marine protected areas, launched large-scale coral grafting projects, and unveiled an ambitious floating city concept to adapt to rising seas. Overwater resorts, perched on stilts above neon lagoons, fund conservation through green taxes that bankroll reef monitoring and turtle rehabilitation. And at night, waves lapping Vadhu Beach ignite with bioluminescent plankton, proving that in the Maldives, wonder begins where land meets ocean and ends only where starlit sky dissolves into sea. Limestone cliffs rise sheer from the Tyrrhenian Sea, their pale faces crowned with pines and scented by wild rosemary. Capri itself is a block of ancient seabed, pushed skyward by the same faults that created nearby Vesuvius and the Bay of Naples. Wave action sculpted its signature icons, the Faraglioni sea stacks, and hollowed the Blue Grotto, where sunlight refracts through an underwater entrance and paints the cave a surreal electric blue. From the summit of Monte Solaro, the island drops almost vertically to water so clear that Roman coins can still be seen on calm days. Human fascination with Capri spans 3 millennia. Greek settlers called it Kapros, but it was Emperor Tiberius who turned the island into a first-century refuge, building cliff-top Villa Jovis to rule the empire in near seclusion. Medieval watchtowers later guarded villages from Saracen pirates, and by the 19th century, writers and artists, Keats, Lennon, and Jackie O, were sipping espresso in the tiny piazzetta. Modern capressi still handcraft leather sandals, distill Carthusia perfumes from local herbs, and squeeze lemons the size of fists into sweet tart granita. Switchback, Via Krupp winds between cactus gardens and agaves engineered to stabilize fragile slopes, and marine-protected zones now limit boat traffic to safeguard critical seagrass beds. Capri may host day trippers by the thousands, yet at dawn, when fishermen ease gozo boats past grottos still tinted rose, you glimpse the island's original rhythm, carved by sea, stone, and the soft hush of Mediterranean light. Bali sits atop an active volcanic arc, its spines dominated by brooding Mount Agung and perfectly cone-shaped Mount Batur. Fertile ash from centuries of eruptions feeds emerald rice terraces that step like giant staircases down to black sand beaches. Coral reefs fringe the coast in vivid swaths of turquoise, and on still mornings, the Strait of Bali mirrors both volcanoes and the distant Lombok skyline. The entire island measures scarcely 5,600 square kilometers, yet its landscapes shift from steamy mangroves to mountain cloud forests in less than an hour's drive. The island's soul is Balinese Hinduism, a fusion of ancient Javanese beliefs and Indian epics that survived Islam's sweep through the archipelago. Temple gates shaped like split mountains frame every village road, and major sea temples, Tanah Lot, Uluwatu, Pura Sagara, form a mystical necklace around the coast. UNESCO-listed Subak canals, first organized in the 9th century, still deliver volcanic water to each rice terrace through a cooperative system run by priests at Mother Temple Besaki. Dutch colonizers dubbed Bali the morning of the world, while the global art scene embraced its gamelan orchestras, barong dances, and batik studios during the 20th century creative boom of Ubud. Today, conservation wrestles with over-tourism. Manta rays glide through new marine sanctuaries off Nusa Penida, while endangered Bali starlings receive round-the-clock protection in West Bali National Park. Community-run bans on single-use plastics and the annual Day of Silence, Nyepi, when airports close and beaches empty, give the island a 24-hour environmental reset. Whether you're climbing torch-lit trails to catch sunrise atop Mount Batur or listening to frogs chorus beside a jungle shrine, Bali reveals a timeless balance: fire-forged land, water-bound culture, and a rhythm of ceremonies that anchors daily life beneath the watchful eyes of its volcano gods. "74 emerald peaks break the surface of the Coral Sea, midway up Australia's Queensland coast. Drowned fragments of an ancient mountain range now wrapped in the neon blues of the Great Barrier Reef. Tidal currents swirl silica into sweeping brushstrokes at Whitehaven Beach, creating milk-white sand so pure it squeaks underfoot. Sailboats slip between coves, alive with sea turtles and the postcard-perfect Heart Reef, while sulfur-crested cockatoos wheel over rain-forested slopes that plunge straight into sapphire water. Long before Captain James Cook charted the passage in 1770, the Ngaro people navigated these channels in bark canoes, leaving ochre rock art beneath limestone overhangs on Hook Island. Europeans later planted hoop pine and harvested pearl shell, but by the 20th century, tourism eclipsed industry. Resort pioneers turned Daydream, Hamilton, and Hayman into tropical playgrounds, their jetty lights mirroring constellations once used by Ngaro astronomers. Today, two overlapping UNESCO designations, the Great Barrier Reef World Heritage Area and the Narrow Sea Country, guide strict limits on anchoring, fishing, and coastal construction. Rangers transplant coral fragments to heal cyclone-damaged bommies, while volunteer reef keepers log manta and dugong sightings for marine biologists. Whether you're hiking Whitsunday Peak at dawn or drifting above rainbow parrotfish on a glass-bottom boat, the islands still echo their ancient name: Gululu, home among the stars and sea. In the Adriatic's sun-sparked waters, Hvar unfurls as a 68-kilometer ribbon of limestone ridges, vineyards, and lavender-scented hills. Karst caves ventilate cool air into terraced fields, first cut by Greek settlers from Pharos, now Stari Grad, in 384 BCE. Their perfectly gridded farm plots survive intact, earning the Stari Grad Plain UNESCO World Heritage status. Above Hvar town, the medieval Spanish fortress crowns a slope of agave and pine, gazing across to the scattered Paclini Islands and the distant silver line of Italy on clear days. Illyrians mined salt here before Rome built ports, Venice fortified trade routes, and 16th century architects raised Croatia's oldest public theatre on Hvar's marble main square. Seafaring wealth funded Baroque churches, Franciscan monasteries, and stone-cutting schools whose methods echo in every tight alleyway. Pirate raids, Ottoman skirmishes, and Austrian rule all left fingerprints, yet villages still mark time by the ringing of the cathedral bell and the harvest of Plavac Mali grapes that ripen on south-facing slopes. Modern Hvar balances glamour with guardianship. Luxury yachts moor beside centuries-old fishing boats, while new marine reserves protect seagrass meadows where loggerhead turtles forage and shy seahorses cling to eelgrass. Solar farms now power remote hamlets. An annual lavender festival precedes fund replanting of fields lost to past fires. Hike the old Napoleon Road at sunset, and you'll smell wild sage on warm stone. Hear cicadas rise like static and watch the Adriatic blaze gold. Proof that Hvar's ancient cadence still beats beneath its island chic. "5 million years of wind and water have carved Kaua'i, the eldest of Hawaii's high islands, into a green cathedral of razor-edged ridges and plunging valleys. Shield volcano lava once flowed smoothly here. Today, its remnants form the jagged Napali coast, where 1,200-meter cliffs drop straight into jade-colored swells. Inland, Waimea Canyon, the Grand Canyon of the Pacific, gapes 10 miles long, its rust-red walls streaked with waterfalls that feed the high-elevation Alakai Swamp, one of Earth's wettest places. Mist rising from Mount Waialeele hangs like a perpetual veil over taro paddies in Hanalei Valley. Polynesian voyagers settled Kaua'i around the 4th century CE, planting breadfruit and sweet potato in Terrace Loi and erecting heiau temples along the Wailua River. Captain Cook made first Western landfall here in 1778, and 19th century sugar barons reshaped lowland plains with plantation railways that still echo in Grove Farm Museum. Though annexed by the Hawaiian Kingdom, and later the United States, Kaua'i retained a separate royal line longer than any other island, its chiefs famously refusing Kamehameha's initial attempts at conquest. Conservation now guides Kauai's future. Endangered nene geese patrol coastal dunes, Hawaiian monk seals bask on Poipu's golden sand, and native forests in Haina State Park are replanted to outcompete invasive strawberry guava. Strict caps limit hikers on the Kalalau Trail, and community-run reef talks teach snorkelers to avoid touching fragile coral heads. Whether paddling the only navigable river in Hawaii or watching the sun ignite Kalalau's cathedral valleys, visitors glimpse an island safeguarding the raw beauty that millennia of erosion revealed. Jeju thrusts above the Korea Strait as a single monumental shield volcano, crowned by Hallasan's 1,947-meter summit crater and girdled by a necklace of 368 secondary cones. Molten basalt once tunneled outward in incandescent rivers, leaving behind one of the planet's longest lava tube systems. Manjangul's cathedral high passages still glisten with stalactite lava waterfalls. At sunrise, Seongsan Il Chulbong Tough Cone glows apricot, while coastal Haenyeo sea women ready their nets beside black sand beaches forged from cooled magma. Legends credit Jeju to three demigods who emerged from Samseonghyeol Cave, but written history begins with Tamna Kingdom sailors trading shell and silk along Asian sea routes. After annexation by Korea's Goryeo and Joseon dynasties, Jeju became an exile outpost, its isolation preserving a dialect, cuisine, and matriarchal Haenyeo diving culture unrivaled in East Asia. Moss-faced Dol Harubang statues, carved from porous lava blocks in the 18th century, still guard village gates, their bulbous eyes watching modern tourists stream in by ferry and budget airline. A triple UNESCO crown, Biosphere Reserve, World Heritage Volcanic Sites, and Global Geopark now frames island policy. Halasan National Park rangers tag migrating goshawks, while farmers grid the slopes with windmills that whirl above tangerine orchards. Plastic bans protect emerald bays, where endangered Indo-Pacific bottlenose dolphins calf, and maritime zones limit fishing around Suncheon's soft coral reefs. Between volcanic dawns and lantern-lit night markets, Jeju balances rapid tourism with deep-rooted stewardship of land, sea, and myth. Emerging from the warm tides of the Indian Ocean, Zanzibar's main island is a coral limestone platform, ringed by mangroves and sugar sand coves. Spice-laden breezes drift across clove plantations, planted in fertile, iron-rich soils, while offshore reefs shimmer with butterfly fish and hawksbill turtles gliding through turquoise channels. At low tide, seaweed farmers in brightly patterned kangas wade across mirror-flat lagoons as dhows, rigged with lateen sails unchanged for 1,000 years, slip toward the horizon. Persian merchants anchored here by the 10th century, naming the archipelago Zanj el Bar, the coast of black people, and blending cultures that would later include Shirazi, Omani, Indian, and European influences. Omani sultans moved their capital to Stone Town in 1840, building coral rag palaces and labyrinthine alleys that today form a UNESCO World Heritage Site. The same harbor, once bustling with ivory and enslaved Africans, witnessed abolition treaties and, in 1964, the Zanzibar Revolution, which merged the islands with Tanganyika to create modern Tanzania. Zanzibar's allure now rests on safeguarding what history left behind. Jozani Chwaka Bay National Park shelters the red colobus monkey, endemic and critically endangered, while Menai Bay Conservation Area limits trawlers to protect dolphin nurseries. Community cooperatives replant mangroves to buffer storm surges, and UNESCO grants fund coral nursery rafts off Nemba Atoll. Spice tour guides walk visitors among cinnamon, nutmeg, and vanilla vines, proof that Zanzibar's identity still grows from the very earth and ocean that first drew sailors to its scented shores. Born of underwater eruptions 5.2 million years ago, Madeira rises nearly 4 kilometers from the Atlantic sea floor, its peaks veiled by clouds and its sheer cliffs lashed by waves. Moist trade winds condense against knife-edge ridges, feeding cascading levadas, stone-lined irrigation channels begun in the 15th century that now lace 2,000 kilometers of hiking paths through emerald laurisilva forest. On clear evenings, Cabo Giron's glass skywalk peers 580 meters straight down to terraced vineyards cradled by burnt orange tuff. Prince Henry the Navigator's captains landed here in 1419, igniting Europe's first Atlantic sugar boom and later a global appetite for fortified Madeira wine, favored by Shakespeare and toasted in America's 1776 Declaration signing. Columbus courted his Madeiran wife in Porto Santo, and British troops once garrisoned Funchal's yellow-washed São Lourenço Palace against Napoleonic fleets. Today, pastel villages cling to rock amphitheaters, their church towers chiming alongside wicker sled drivers who still steer tourists down Monte's cobbled descents. UNESCO-listed Laurie Silver Forest, last survivor of a prehistoric biome, protects firecrest birds and ancient heather trees draped in lichens, while offshore marine reserves shelter monk seals and migrating bride's whales. Hydroelectric tunnels and Europe's first island-wide wave energy pilot reduce reliance on imported fuel, and hillside farmers revive nearly lost banana and passion fruit cultivars for local markets. From sunrise atop Pico Ruivo to twilight fireworks over Funchal Bay on New Year's Eve, Madeira showcases how an isolated volcano can flourish when culture, conservation, and ocean horizons converge. Mauritius began as a lone volcano in the sea about 9 million years ago. Black lava cliffs still frame parts of the coast and drop straight into bright water. A living coral reef circles most of the island and creates shallow blue lagoons that stay calm even on windy days. Just inland, the rock peak of Le Morne Brabant towers over the southwest shore and offers wide views of reef, beach, and open ocean. History has left clear footprints you can still visit today. The Apravasi Ghat in Port Louis is a stone landing site where indentured workers first stepped onto the island in the 1800s. Fort Adelaide, built by the British on a hill above the capital, keeps its heavy iron cannons aimed at the harbour below. On the north side, the white-pillared Château de la Bourdonnais sits among giant mango and jackfruit trees and shows how sugar baron families once lived. Near the west coast, the Martello Tower at La Préneuse guards a quiet beach and tells the story of old island defenses. Nature remains the island's greatest draw. Black River Gorges National Park protects deep green valleys where waterfalls cut through rainforest and rare pink pigeons glide between ebony trees. The nearby Chamarel area holds the seven-colored earth, a small field of rippling sand dunes that glow in stripes of red, yellow, and violet, plus the island's tallest single-drop waterfall. Down on the southeast corner, Blue Bay Marine Park lets snorkelers float over coral gardens filled with angelfish and sea turtles. The Galápagos sit 1,000 kilometers off the coast of Ecuador, rising from the sea on raw black lava that still steams after some eruptions. Each island is a volcano, and some, like Fernandina, are among the most active on Earth. Giant tortoises lumber across open highlands, while marine iguanas slip into cool water right beside them. Clear bays, such as Tortuga Bay, hold white sand and bright fish that circle quiet tidal pools. At Punta Española, blue-footed boobies and waved albatrosses nest on low cliffs just meters from easy walking paths. History here centers on science and protection rather than ancient ruins. In 1835, Charles Darwin landed on San Cristobal and later used what he saw to shape his ideas on evolution. By 1959, the whole archipelago became Ecuador's first national park, and the Charles Darwin Research Station opened on Santa Cruz to breed rare tortoises. Old mail barrels at Post Office Bay on Floriana still let travelers swap letters, copying a custom that began with whalers 2 centuries ago. No castles stand here, but the worn wooden barrel itself feels like a living museum. Nearly every visitor steps onto only a few marked trails, and small tour boats must follow strict timetables set by park rangers. On Isabela Island, hikers can walk the rim of Sierra Negra, one of the world's widest volcanic craters, and stare into a floor of dark lava. Snorkelers drift with sea lions in shallow Gardner Bay, while divers watch hammerhead sharks circle beneath steep walls at Darwin Arch. Even with controlled tourism, the islands remain one huge outdoor lab where wildlife shows little fear, and the wide Pacific horizon frames nature at work. São Miguel is the largest island in the Azores, born from layers of volcanic rock that began stacking up 750,000 years ago. Deep craters now hold bright blue and green lakes, the most famous being Seychelles, where twin lagoons fill a giant caldera ringed by high rims and pine trees. At Furnace Valley, hot springs bubble beside quiet streets, and cooks bury pots in warm soil to slow-cook stew called cozido for hours. Steep cliffs drop to black sand beaches like Praia do Fogo, while sea arches and grottos line the rugged north coast. From Miraduro da Lagoa do Fogo, visitors see both ocean coasts at once on a clear day. Signs of human history sit close to the natural wonders. The 16th century Forte de São Brás guards Ponta Delgada's harbour with thick stone walls and old cannons. Nearby, the church of São José shows off carved lava stone doorways, common to Azorean Baroque style. Cobbled lanes lead to Portas da Cidade, 3 white and black arches that once marked the city gate for sailors. At Ribeira Grande, a graceful arch bridge called Ponte dos Oito Arcos spans a narrow river that flows straight to the sea. Small tea plantations, dating back to the 1800s, still grow on misty hills east of the capital and welcome visitors for simple tastings. Much of the island now belongs to the São Miguel Nature Park, which protects crater lakes, laurel forests, and coastal cliffs. Hikers follow well-marked trails around Lagoa das Sete Cidades and down to Salto do Cabrito, a tall waterfall hidden in thick forest. Whale-watching boats head out from Vila Franca do Campo, and on lucky days, spot sperm whales breaching near the surface. At Caldera Vela, warm mineral pools let travelers soak beneath ferns, while small waterfalls pour down hot, rusty red rock. With its mix of quiet villages, volcanic peaks, and blue Atlantic views, São Miguel offers a steady parade of landmarks that are easy to reach, yet still feel wild. Grand Cayman rises from limestone perched on the rim of the deep Cayman Trench, and its west coast holds the famous 7-Mile Beach, where white sand meets water that fades from pale aqua to navy blue. Just offshore, a coral wall drops into open ocean and gives divers a sheer cliff of sponges and sea fans. In the north, Stingray City is a shallow sandbar where friendly rays glide around visitors standing waist-deep in clear water. The low black rocks of hell show how ancient coral hardened into jagged limestone, while shafts of sunlight reach tall stalactites inside the Cayman Crystal Caves. Pedro Street James, the island's oldest stone house, overlooks the sea and tells the story of early assemblies held in the 1700s. Nearby, the wooden mission house shows how settlers once lived beside their small farm plots. A monument at East End marks the wreck of the Ten Sail, a 1794 ship disaster that led Britain to promise help to islanders. Divers also visit the USS Kittiwake, a former rescue vessel sunk as an artificial reef and now covered in soft corals and schools of fish. The Mastic Trail cuts through the island's last stretch of old dry forest, where Cayman parrots flash green wings among tall mahogany trees. Queen Elizabeth II Botanic Park breeds the bright blue iguana, an endangered lizard found nowhere else on Earth. Kayak tours paddle into North Sound after sunset, and every stroke stirs glowing plankton that sparkle in the dark water. Whether on the beach, in the forest, or under the sea, Grand Cayman offers natural landmarks at every turn. Corsica rises steeply from the Mediterranean, with a backbone of granite peaks crowned by 2,706-meter Monte Cinto. Red cliffs in the Scandola Nature Reserve plunge straight into the sea and shelter cormorants and monk seals, while the Calanque de Piana glow orange at sunset with wind-carved spires. Inland, glacier-fed lakes sit in cool basins, and mountain roads twist past chestnut forests before opening onto views of both coasts. The jagged aiguilles de Bavela stand like stone needles above pine-scented valleys. High on a rock ridge, the citadel of Corte once served as the capital of Corsica's brief republic in the 18th century. In Ajaccio, the modest stone house where Napoleon was born keeps family letters and uniforms on quiet display. Dozens of round Genoese watchtowers dot the coast, each built in the 1500s to warn villages of pirate raids. Farther south, Bonifacio's White Fortress sits atop chalk cliffs that fall almost straight into the turquoise strait below. Filitosa shows rows of 3,000-year-old stone warriors carved with faint swords and faces. Nearly half the island lies inside the Parc Naturel Régional de Corse, which protects rivers, high pastures, and the 2-week GR20 hiking trail that crosses granite ridges and swinging footbridges. Palombagia Beach curves in pale sand beneath umbrella pines and calm, clear water, perfect for swimming. Boat trips to the Lavesi Islands enter a marine reserve where groupers weave through granite blocks in shallow bays. From mountain summits to quiet coves, Corsica packs dramatic landmarks into a single, rugged isle. Isla Holbox is a narrow sandbar that hugs the north coast of Mexico's Yucatan Peninsula. A shallow lagoon called Yalajao separates the island from the mainland and keeps cars away. Visitors move by bike or golf cart on sandy streets. Long beaches face gentle Gulf waves, and wooden hammocks swing above water that stays warm all year. A bright mural scene colors the small town square, and an old lighthouse marks Punta Mosquito at the island's east end. When the tide falls, soft sandbars appear and invite long barefoot walks. Mayan fishers first camped here to catch tarpon and snook in the calm lagoon. Pirates later hid in the coves, leaving stories of buried silver, though no chest has been found. A few weathered docks show where coconut boats once loaded their cargo in the early 1900s. Hurricane flags still hang in the tiny history room beside the pier, reminding locals of past storms. The island keeps its past simple, living more by sea rhythm than by written record. Holbox sits inside the Yumbalam Flora and Fauna Reserve, and wildlife surrounds every path. Flamingos feed in the green shallows, lifting pink wings when startled by passing skimmers. At night, bioluminescent plankton light the dark waves, and each splash looks like liquid stars. From June to September, boats head offshore, so visitors can snorkel beside gentle whale sharks that cruise the warm currents. Mangrove tunnels shelter crocodiles and herons, showing that even a small island can hold a full world of nature. The Mediterranean's second-largest island, Sardinia, is a land of prehistoric mystery, Spanish towers, and emerald coastlines. Its coastline stretches for nearly 2,000 kilometers, dotted with beaches like La Pelosa, Cala Luna, and the famed Costa Smeralda, all prized for their surreal turquoise waters and rugged backdrops. But beyond its coastal splendor lies a lesser-known ancient world. Sardinia is home to over 7,000 nuraghi, megalithic stone towers built by a mysterious Bronze Age civilization. The most famous, Su Nuraxi in Barumini, is a UNESCO World Heritage Site and remains one of the Mediterranean's oldest surviving structures. Sardinia's cities tell tales of conquest and faith. In Cagliari, the island's capital, the Cathedral of Santa Maria rises over the Castello district, once fortified by Pisans and Aragonese. The nearby Basilica of San Saturnino, dating to the 5th century, is one of Sardinia's oldest Christian buildings. On the western coast, Alghero still retains its Catalan Gothic churches and Spanish-influenced dialect, a legacy of Aragonese rule. These architectural layers, blending Romanesque, Byzantine, and Iberian influences, mirror Sardinia's role as a crossroads in the Mediterranean. The island's fortifications reveal its strategic importance. Along the coast, 16th-century Spanish watchtowers still stand guard against pirate raids, while inland mountain villages like Orgosolo preserve traditional murals and customs. From its windswept plateaus to hidden coastal coves, Sardinia offers a blend of wild beauty and ancient enigma, making it one of the most diverse and historically rich islands in the Mediterranean Sea. Endless beaches stretch along the coastline, lush valleys cradle hidden waterfalls, and majestic volcanoes rise high into the sky. This is Maui, Hawaii, a breathtaking island where nature's wonders come alive. The famous road to Hana is where the adventure begins. This scenic 64-mile drive winds through lush rainforests, past cascading waterfalls, and along stunning black sand beaches. Every twist and turn reveals something new, from bamboo forests to hidden swimming holes. It's a journey as beautiful as the destination itself. At the top of Haleakala, Maui's massive dormant volcano, the sunrise is unforgettable. Imagine standing above the clouds, watching the sun peek over the crater's edge, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink. Locals call it the House of the Sun, and it's easy to see why. For underwater explorers, Maui has Molokini Crater, a partially submerged volcanic caldera teeming with marine life. The crystal-clear waters make it a prime spot for snorkeling, with colorful fish and coral everywhere you look. And of course, no trip to Maui is complete without experiencing a traditional Hawaiian luau. Whitewashed buildings, blue-domed churches, and sunsets that light up the sky. This is Santorini, Greece. The village of Oia is where those iconic postcard views come to life. Perched on the cliffs, with white houses and winding cobblestone streets, it's like walking through a dream. And when the sun sets, the whole town is bathed in shades of pink and orange, a view you'll never forget. Santorini's volcanic beaches are something special too. Red Beach, with its dramatic red cliffs, and Black Beach, with its pebbly black sand, offer a different kind of beauty. Swimming here feels almost otherworldly, surrounded by the unique colors of the volcanic landscape. But Santorini's past is just as dramatic as its landscape. Around 1600 BCE, the island was rocked by one of the largest volcanic eruptions in history, which buried the ancient city of Akrotiri in ash. This eruption is often linked to the legend of Atlantis, and today you can visit the preserved ruins of Akrotiri, walking through streets that haven't changed in thousands of years. And if you're up for an adventure, a boat ride takes you to the volcanic islands of Nia Kameni and Palea Kameni, where you can hike around the crater or soak in natural hot springs. Santorini isn't just about sights, it's about taste too. The local wine, especially the crisp, dry Assyrtiko, is a must-try. Grown in volcanic soil, it has a flavor all its own, best enjoyed while watching the Aegean Sea stretch out in front of you. Crystal-clear lagoons, lush mountains, and overwater bungalows, this is Bora Bora, the jewel of French Polynesia. Bora Bora's lagoon is famous for its unreal shades of blue. The calm, shallow waters are protected by a barrier reef, perfect for snorkeling and swimming. You'll find yourself surrounded by colorful coral gardens and exotic fish, and if you're lucky, you might even spot a gentle manta ray gliding by. One of the island's most iconic features is Mount Otomanu, a dormant volcano that rises dramatically from the center of the island. Hiking around the base or exploring by boat offers views that feel straight out of a movie, with lush green peaks surrounded by turquoise waters. Staying in an overwater bungalow is a must in Bora Bora. Imagine waking up to the sight of fish swimming beneath your room, with direct access to the lagoon right from your deck. It's a unique experience that combines luxury with the natural beauty of the island. With its stunning scenery and tranquil vibe, Bora Bora is more than just a beautiful place. It's a paradise where every view feels like a dream come true.